Good evening and welcome one and all to the Chris Salcedo Show worldwide here on the Vida television network. I am your host, Chris Salcedo. Got a big show planned for you tonight. Wide-ranging, I don't know if you want to call it historic, just something I've never seen type of press conference from Donald Trump, the president of the United States. A lot of veteran broadcasters, a lot of veteran journalists looked at what happened here a day ago and say, wow, did that just happen? Wide-ranging impromptu press conference. We'll get into all of that in mere moments. But first, I want to let you know how you can keep in touch with the program. ChrisSalcedo.com. Pretty big resource for you folks, not only to figure out what the show is about, also get in touch with us on social media. There are several links there to the radio shows, what we've done in the past. Also, there's a contact number for you guys to call if you want to leave feedback on the show and have us address some of those issues. You can leave your name and your area that you're calling from, and we'll try to address whatever question that you have for us here on the Chris Salcedo Show worldwide. At Chris Salcedo TX on Twitter if you want to engage on social media, and we're on Facebook as well. Coming up in the second half of the show, we'll talk to a brand new guest here on the program. Never talked to him before, Eric Schiffer, and we'll talk to him about this growing controversy in the National Football League, which for me, to be quite frank, folks, it's not a growing controversy. I'm over it. I'm done with it. I'm through with the NFL. We'll get more into that here in a second. Meantime, let's get out to the Rose Garden. President of the United States standing next to that guy, Mitch McConnell, who has been one of the thorns in the president's side. And frankly, the president's been a thorn in his side as well. Listen to the tone and the tenor of this press conference, rather extraordinary, after a lunch to go over the fall agenda.
I just want to say that we just spent quite a bit of time inside with the Senate Majority Leader, Mitch McConnell, who has been a friend of mine for a long time, long before my world of politics, early into his world of politics, I think. But we've been friends for a long time. We are probably now, despite what we read, we're probably now, I think, at least as far as I'm concerned, closer than ever before.
I don't recall the Senate Majority Leader and Donald Trump before his election being that chummy. I think this is a little bit of revisionist history on the president's part. Some recognition on Mitch McConnell's part that he needs the president, and he needs the president's former right-hand guy, Steve Bannon, to back off and give him a little breathing room. I think there's a little bit of recognition from both men here. They need one another. This was one of the questions that was asked by the basket of bias press of the president.
Last week, your administration made two major announcements on rolling back the Iran deal and getting rid of the cost-sharing reductions as part of Obamacare. And a lot of criticism has been leveled at your administration, saying that really all you're doing is...
And a lot of praise.
Fair enough, sir.
Tell me what Republican president would have insisted that the praise also be noted by the basket of bias press. That moment for me, I mean, would Bush have said, oh, to be fair, praise too. And by the way, we praised the president's decision as we've gone over in the last couple of nights. But listen to what this guy wants to know. Now, do you guys recall any questions of Obama like you're about ready to hear? Listen.
Rolling back, a lot of what you're doing is simply rolling back everything your predecessor accomplished. Is there a single policy of your predecessor that you specifically do not want to touch, sir?
Do you guys remember any questions like this of Resident Obama? Any part of the Bush legacy that you want to leave intact, Mr. Obama? I don't recall one. And notice how the biased reporter refers to what Obama did as accomplishments. If he were a true straight down the middle reporter, he would say Mr. Obama's legislative victories or his policies. Are there any of his policies that you want to leave in place? Listen to the president's rather lengthy kind of bouncing around answer, but he does get to the final point.
Well, we're very opposite in terms of incentives and incentives for jobs and other things. And if you look at what's happened, we just hit a new high today again in the stock market. We've picked up, Mitch, it's as of this moment, $5.2 trillion in stock market value. We have the lowest unemployment rate in, I believe it's almost 17 years. We're doing well. We're going to be doing immigration work that's going to be outstanding, and we're going to have people coming into our country based hopefully on a merit system, not just coming in randomly, but they're going to be coming in based on a merit system.
Yeah, okay. Now, long story short, I'm different than Obama. I have a different worldview of Obama. This is his roundabout way of getting there.
They can help us because I have companies moving into this country. You saw what happened with the automobile industry last week with 5 major plants. We have companies pouring back into this country for the first time in anybody's memory. We are actually going to be fairly soon at a point where we're going to need workers. Our country is going to do so well, but the tax cuts are going to be a major, major part of it.
Is there a single policy you want to keep in place, though? Is there a single policy you keep in place?
Not too many, I must say. It's the opposite side of the spectrum.
All of that just to get to, you know what, I'm not going to keep the Obama legacy. We're too different. We have 2 different worldviews. Now, notice, now granted, I think maybe the press can be given a little leeway because President Trump, for a long time, was a Democrat. Is there anything that you like that Obama did? I can't think of one policy issue that Barack Obama instituted that I would support keeping. As a matter of fact, I would like to wipe off, actually, and this isn't even a policy. There's one thing. The best thing about the Obama occupation of the Oval Office was that he was the first black elected as president of the United States. That was healing for our country. That means that we have progressed beyond where the left wing says that we are. And that was the best part of Barack Obama's occupation of the Oval Office was his skin color. That was the best part. The rest of it, his left-wing extremism. Sorry, you can keep it. Don't want it. Don't need it. The president asked some more questions.
If it would help Special Counsel Robert Mueller get to the end of the Russia investigation.
Well, I'd like to see it end. Look, the whole Russian thing was an excuse. Excuse me. The whole Russian thing was an excuse for the Democrats losing the election, and it turns out to be just one excuse. I mean, today Hillary blamed Nigel Farage. That one came out of nowhere. So that was just an excuse for the Democrats losing an election that, frankly, they have a big advantage in the Electoral College. They should always be able to win in the Electoral College, but they were unable to do it. So there has been absolutely no collusion. It's been stated that they have no collusion. They ought to get to the end of it because I think the American public is sick of it. Go ahead.
Now, that's true. I think the American people are sick and tired of the Democrats dragging the country through the mud for almost a year now. You know, we're almost a year to the election, the year anniversary to the election. And the Democrats still can't accept that they lost to a political neophyte like Donald Trump. More questioning, more pertinent questioning from the basket of biased press.
Our country needs a wall. Mexico, you see what's happening there. You see what just happened yesterday with one of their big political leaders. Mexico is not doing particularly well when it comes to the kind of thing that we have great interest in. Drugs are pouring across our border. We're stopping it, but we need a wall to really stop it. We need a wall in this country. You know it. I know it. Everybody knows it. We have to have a wall, so that's going to be part of it.
Yeah, that's the president recognizing the reason why he was elected. The reason why he was elected is because the American people had grown tired of Washington, D.C. ignoring them on the illegal immigration front. Americans are a kind and generous people. We want folks to come in through the front door, not the back door, and with our permission. We would like to have a say as to who comes into our country. Every other citizen on the planet doesn't have an automatic right to be here. America is great, but we are a nation of laws. Come legally. He knows this is the reason why he was elected and the reason why she wasn't. Hillary Clinton was over in England, and she said the following about the National Football League.
You have to resist what are very clear, what we call dog whistles to that base.
Dog whistles to Donald Trump's base. You mean those of us who believe it is respectful to stand for the national anthem, hand over heart, and sing the national anthem, or at least stand at attention to pay respects for the country and those who died for it, those who serve in uniform, whether they be police officers, firefighters, or those who have served to fight in our wars. She says that's a dog whistle for that type of insistence. You know what she's saying, that Donald Trump is saying only white people can be patriotic. She ought to be ashamed of herself. That's another reason why she wasn't elected.
That's what the black athletes kneeling was about. That was not against our anthem or our flag. That was actually, kneeling is a reverent position.
Yes. So why don't we all kneel as part of our culture in the United States for the national anthem, Mrs. Clinton? Oh, because that's not how we show our respect. And Colin Kaepernick, the reprobate who got all of this started, is on record saying it's about the flag. It's about the anthem. It's about disrespecting this country that he says is full of a bunch of white police officers going out on a daily basis and hunting black people, which is utterly insane. And you, madam, feeding this narrative is tearing this country apart for political gain.
It was to demonstrate in a peaceful way against racism and injustice in our criminal system. I think it would be a grave error for Democrats to recede from those fights. And so therefore we have to stand up, fight back, resist.
There's old Grandma Clinton cautioning the Democrats to continue down the road that President Obama put them down, which lost them election after election after election. I hope they listened to old Grandma Broken Toe. Did you guys hear about that? She fell. Now, remember, she lies about everything. This woman lies about everything habitually. So what we're told is that she was running down a flight of stairs with a cup of coffee and she fell and broke her toe. That one press account said that. Now, can anybody out there picture Hillary Clinton running to anything? I can't. So you got to take that with a grain of salt. But what she's saying there about the Democrats continuing to basically take the side of the NFL players who are disrespecting the flag, the anthem, and the country. Go for it. I hope all you Democrats out there listen to Grandma Broken Toe here. I really do. Because that you will continue the Obama tradition of losing election after election after election. Of course, President Trump was asked about Hillary Clinton's comments and was asked, hey, do you think Hillary was right or wrong that the players are choosing the moment of the national anthem to kneel and that somehow is not disrespectful?
I think she's wrong. Look, when they take a knee, there's plenty of time to do knees and there's plenty of time to do lots of other things. But when you take a knee, that's why she lost the election. I mean, honestly, it's that thinking. That is the reason she lost the election. When you go down and take a knee or any other way, you're sitting, essentially, for our great national anthem. You're disrespecting our flag and you're disrespecting our country.
Yeah. And did you hear what the president just said? That's the reason why she lost. It's because of attitudes like that. Oh, the borders. Oh, we don't enforce our borders. American people don't like that. Oh, the rules don't apply to me. I'm a Democrat. The laws don't apply to me. I'm a Democrat. Americans don't like that. Oh, disrespecting burning the flag, the party of burning the flag, the Democrat Party. Americans don't like that. Not every American hates this country the way Democrats do.
And the NFL should have suspended some of these players for one game. Not fire them, suspended them for one game. And then if they did it again, it could have been 2 games and 3 games and then for the season. You wouldn't have people disrespecting our country right now. And if Hillary Clinton actually made the statement that in a form sitting down during the playing of our great national anthem is not disrespectful, then I fully understand why she didn't win. I know. I mean, look, there are a lot of reasons she didn't win, including the fact that she was not good at what she did. But I will tell you, that is something that I had just heard about, and I think that her statement in itself is very disrespectful to our country.
Oh, and I agree with you, Mr. President. The fact that the leader of, well, the co-leader of the Democrat Party, it's she and Barack Obama, would insinuate that not standing for the flag is not disrespecting the anthem. That in and of itself is disrespectful to our country and to the anthem and all those who died in defense of our nation. Now, they didn't let up, the press corps. And I'm not doing this to be disrespectful to her, but I just can't remember her name. April, what's her name? She's in the press corps. She works for a black network that focuses on black issues and no other issues that are pertaining to the country. And she got indignant and in the president's face.
The police involved shooting issue.
It is very disrespectful.
Whoa. Did you see that? The police issue. What about the police issue? This is what, this is part of the reason why Colin Kaepernick wore socks onto the field depicting police officers as pigs. That was what that member of the press, April, what's her name, was trying to insinuate. What about these dirty cops, is what she was trying to say. And the president said, not going to have any of that. This is not the time to take out those grievances when we're honoring the flag and honoring the country.
Respectful to our country when they take a knee during our national anthem. It is very disrespectful. Just hear it. It is very disrespectful to our country when they take a knee during the national anthem, number one. Number two, the people of our country are very angry at the NFL. All you have to do is look at their ratings and look at their stadiums. You see empty seats where you never saw them before. A lot of people are very angry at it. It is highly disrespectful. They shouldn't do it. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
Spot on. And you're right on, Mr. President. The American people are upset with the National Football League, and we'll talk about that with our guest coming up. His name is Eric Schiffer, and this whole controversy that continues to swirl around the NFL. Like, for example, Colin Kaepernick is suing the NFL. He's filed a grievance saying they're all colluding against him not to give him a job in the NFL because of his politics. Yes, the same NFL that is currently allowing anti-American protests, having the NFL be synonymous with anti-American. Yes, they don't want Colin Kaepernick on because of his politics, or maybe it's just because he can't play football very well. Back in a minute, the Chris Salcedo Show worldwide here on the Vida Television Network. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, everybody. The Chris Salcedo Show worldwide here on the Vida Television Network. Want to introduce our guest today, Eric Schiffer, FoxNews.com contributor, CEO of the Patriarch Organization, serves as chairman of Reputation Management Consultants. Mr. Schiffer, it has been a long time. Welcome back.
Good to see you again, Chris. It has been a while.
All right, let's talk about the National Football League. And let's just start bare bones. I mean, image, reputation, that is your specialty. It seems by a lot of outside observers, a lot of conservatives, that the NFL is undertaking, for lack of a better term, suicide by basically turning off their audience that they built up on a pro-American conservative audience. What's your take on this?
Well, I think they miscalculated, and they miscalculated in such a bad way because, look, players are their assets. There's no question. I think they wanted to maintain good relationships with their players, but then they saw the numbers. And look, it's a business at the end of the day. These owners got there because they're great business people. They got there because they know how to make money. And when they saw that they were alienating a big portion of their base, then they began to pull back, and you're seeing that. And my premise has always been, I think, after seeing certainly this last move, is that They really don't care about social justice. I mean, that was clear because they pulled back. And I don't think they care about patriotism either. Because if they did, they would have followed the rule book and the guidelines from the beginning. The NFL guidelines has been clear that you're supposed to stand and salute the flag, etc. What they care about is one thing. Okay, their flag is the dollar, and they've shown that. They've shown it crystal clear.
Yeah. No, you know what? And it's just yesterday, the NFL players and part of today, they were meeting in New York. And it's so funny you mentioned this, that there is they recognize they have a serious problem because revenue is down. CBS just announced that their stock prices are taking a hit because of their lost revenue, because people are tuning out of the National Football League because NFL is becoming synonymous with anti-American. So they meet, and this was their compromise. And I wanted to get your thought on this. It's not in stone, but this is what's being floated out there. That the National Football League is saying, okay, here, look, we're going to adopt a social justice cause, which is sentences for those who are who get caught in drug deals, who are in the black community or the minority community, and we're gonna push for making those mandatory sentences less time for drug offenses. If you players will just concede to stop disrespecting the flag, the anthem, and the country with your protests on the field. This is the brainchild of the NFL owners. This is how they want to have their cake and eat it too. If you were advising these NFL owners, would you think this is a good way to go?
Well, this is one option. There's no question. I think what they're trying to do is to prevent the players from continuing to litigate this issue through civil disobedience in a capitalistic way. And so that is an option. There's no question. I think if they can come to some kind of agreement in which they're not going to put themselves in a position where the players are going to continue to fight and want to show their support for social justice in a way that's going to alienate viewers, and they should. That might do it. I mean, I would imagine that they've talked to players and gotten some kind of feedback and that they feel that that could pass. And look, I think it's great that they want to support social justice and do it in a way that's positive. But gosh, I think they also need to put a line in the sand and show that, look, at the end of the day, this is their league. The players work for the league, and this is a capitalistic business. I mean, this is not anything other than that, and that they should stand strong in behalf of getting politics off the field.
You took me right where I wanted to go because Eric Schiffer, by the way, FoxNews.com, folks, is joining us. He's a contributor over there. There is this push by some, and some of the allegations have been made on ESPN and in one of the markets I broadcast in Dallas-Fort Worth. One of the religious leaders of a Baptist church has said that if the owners do what you're counseling, Eric, which is to basically say, hey, look, we're the bosses, we're setting a code of conduct for our employees, that is tantamount to, wait for it, slavery. They're saying that Jerry Jones, for example, of the Dallas Cowboys, he comes out and says, our players will be standing for the national anthem, and some of the local pastors and even those in national media on ESPN are saying that is tantamount to running a plantation and Jerry Jones being a slave owner. How do you rationalize, or how do you compromise with thinking like that?
Well, I think that you have to certainly acknowledge it, but also put it into perspective. If we were to assume that that argument flies, then basically every corporation in America is running a slave plantation because on some level they are putting forth some edict that could apply to that kind of really strange and narrow thinking. I appreciate the fact that they may view it that way, and certainly there's a large amount of African Americans there. But to draw that kind of conclusion, I think it just is not credible.
And what does that reflect on the actual state of slavery, not only in the past, but also the current state of slavery in the world? I mean, I just think it strains credibility when you look at what these players are actually doing. They're voluntarily playing a game, and they're making millions of dollars while doing that. Meanwhile, there's actually real slavery going on around the world where people have no choice. They're not being paid well at all, magnificently to the tune of millions of dollars, not at all. Doesn't that diminish actual slavery around the world and the plight of other people who are really going through that?
Well, I think when you attempt to say that someone that commits a traffic violation should be looked at in the same way that someone commits vehicular manslaughter, then I think you get into challenges again with credibility, and you dilute the powerful, position that you would have against, killing people using vehicles. So I think the same thing applies here. You have to put things into the proper context. Otherwise, you begin to undermine the seriousness of what it is that you're arguing on behalf.
That's very well put. And of course, unserious leads me into our last discussion point today. Hillary Clinton has weighed in on this whole issue. And here is what Mrs. Clinton has said. She says that because these players choose the precise time of the playing of the national anthem, that even though Colin Kaepernick said the reason why he started this whole thing off over a year ago during the Obama administration was to protest that flag of oppression, and he also wore socks depicting our nation's police officers as pigs, Hillary Clinton has come out and said that kneeling during the national anthem is not disrespectful to the national anthem or to the country or to the flag. And again, it's just one of those things that makes you scratch your head and go, what is she looking at that would lead her to come to that conclusion? React to Mrs. Clinton, if you will.
Well, I think that Mrs. Clinton is certainly still interested in politics because this is a clear political position. It's to appeal to those on the left that view social justice demonstrations as the end all, irrespective of the negative implications. Look, no one's against social justice, I think, and certainly protests and freedom of speech. It's the question of the venue, okay? And what they are doing, and they can't just ignore this, they're choosing to send a counter message at the same time, which is that it's okay to denigrate something that represents the history of this country, the lives of people who have died for this country, police officers, firefighters, the families of the military, all exemplified by the flag. And to say that you can, in some way, not honor it, and in any way then have it be translated into anything other than disrespect for the flag, I don't buy. And so I think Hillary Clinton is doing the political expedient thing. It's to be expected. She's aligning with the base, many of the base that didn't want her to win, and certainly ignoring the people that I think she lost as well. And what President Trump aptly pointed out yesterday in his speech as to why she lost the election. I think she is tone deaf. And the majority of Americans see this as something that they don't like. They feel that we shouldn't be disrespecting the flag.
And, to your point, to your last point there, the majority of Americans don't like it. And Hillary Clinton is saying Democrats shouldn't surrender on this position of denigrating the flag, to which I say, as a conservative, go for it. I hope the Republicans listen to Grandma Hillary Broken Toe there. Eric Schiffer, everybody, FoxNews.com, CEO of the Patriarch Organization. Sir, it's always a pleasure to talk with you here.
Likewise, Chris. Great to be back with you.
And that there is going to do it for the Chris Salcedo Show worldwide. Keep in touch with us. Leave your messages if you wish. ChrisSalcedo.com or jump on Twitter @ChrisSalcedoTX. Have a great night, everybody. See you tomorrow.